In a world that constantly romanticizes love, many of us fall into the trap of seeking validation through relationships. We chase affection, attention, and approval, sometimes at the expense of our self-worth. Machiavelli's philosophy reminds us of a deeper truth: love without respect is empty. If you want meaningful connections, you must demand respect first. The chase that leaves you empty, we've all been there. Some of us more than once. It starts like a scene from a movie. Someone new enters your life, and suddenly there's chemistry so strong it feels like the universe is trying to tell you something. They laugh at your jokes. They text you good morning. They make you feel special, like maybe, just maybe, this is the one. And then it begins. You start rearranging your schedule just to be available. You reply instantly, even when they take hours to respond. You put their needs ahead of yours, cancel plans for them, say yes when you want to say no, because you're afraid that if you don't, they might lose interest. At first, you tell yourself it's just effort. Relationships take work, right? But deep down, you know the truth. It's not effort. It's chasing. And here's the thing about chasing. The harder you run after love, the faster it slips away. The signs. We ignore. This is where it gets painful. The texts that used to come with heart emojis now come with one-word replies. The late-night conversations that made you feel seen start fading into silence. You start feeling like you're auditioning for a role in someone else's life instead of being a priority in your own. But because you remember how good it felt in the beginning, you keep chasing. You tell yourself maybe they're busy, maybe they just need time, maybe if you do more, give more, love more, things will go back to the way they were, except they won't. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Real love doesn't need to be chased. Why chasing hurts. When you chase love, you put yourself in a position where you're always proving, always convincing, always waiting for someone else to choose you. It drains you emotionally. It chips away at your self-worth until you start believing you're hard to love. But you're not hard to love. You're just loving someone who doesn't respect you enough to meet you halfway. And here's the plot twist. The more you chase, the less attractive you become in their eyes. Desperation is never magnetic. Self-respect is. The power of respect. Love might be the spark, but respect is the foundation. Without it, relationships become unstable, full of highs and lows, passion and disappointment. Respect doesn't just keep love alive. It transforms it into something deeper, stronger, and lasting. Here's how. 1. Boundaries are honored. You're not taken for granted. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with clear rules for entry. They protect your time, your energy, and your mental peace. When someone respects you, they don't push past those boundaries or make you feel guilty for having them. Think about it. Respectful partners don't pressure you into saying yes when you want to say no. They understand when you need space, and don't take it personally. They know your limits and value them. Instead of testing them without boundaries, relationships turn into emotional free-for-alls where one person gives everything, and the other takes until there's nothing left. Respect prevents that. Your voice matters. Decisions and feelings are acknowledged. Respect turns relationships into partnerships, not dictatorships. When you speak, your feelings aren't dismissed as too sensitive or overreacting. Your opinions shape decisions, big or small, from where to eat dinner to how to handle finances or family matters. A relationship without respect feels like shouting into the void. A relationship with respect feels like a conversation where both voices carry equal weight. That difference changes everything. Mutual growth. Both people thrive, not just one. Respect isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about actively supporting each other's growth. You cheer for each other's dreams instead of competing. You give each other room to evolve instead of clinging to who you were at the start. You become each other's safe space for ambition, learning, and self-discovery. Without respect, one person's needs dominate and the other slowly disappears. With respect, love becomes a team sport where both people win. From fleeting passion to lasting partnership, passion is exciting, but it burns out fast when there's no respect to anchor it. Relationships built only on chemistry crash the moment challenges appear. Respect, on the other hand, keeps the bond steady even when life gets messy. Because here's the truth. Respect listens when passion shouts. Respect stays when passion drifts. Respect builds when passion alone would have burned out. That's why respect elevates love from an emotional roller coaster to a partnership built to last. Stop chasing. Start demanding. When you stop chasing love, you shift the balance of power. You no longer beg for attention. You attract people who value your worth. Here's how. Set standards. Know your deal breakers and stick to them. Value yourself. Build confidence through personal growth and achievements. Walk away when needed. If respect disappears, so should you. Focus on purpose. A meaningful life attracts meaningful relationships. The Machiavelli mindset. Machiavelli wasn't about playing small. He taught strategy, power, and self-mastery, principles that apply just as much to love as they do to life. And here's the hard truth. Love without respect isn't love. It's longing. It's compromise. It's you giving more than you should while getting less than you deserve. The Machiavelli mindset flips this entirely. It says, lead with self-respect, not desperation. Don't beg for love. Attract it with boundaries and standards. Be willing to walk away when respect disappears. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. Emotions matter, but they're not the whole story. Love feels amazing, but emotions alone can blind you to reality. Machiavelli would remind you strategy matters as much as feelings. If they ignore your boundaries, it's not love, it's convenience for them. If they disappear when things get hard, it's not love, it's escapism. If you have to chase them, it's not love, it's control dressed as affection. Real love doesn't demand that you lose yourself just to keep it alive. Self-respect comes first. Here's the core of the Machiavelli approach. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. When you make excuses for bad behavior, when you stay silent to keep the peace, when you give endless chances, you tell the world you're okay with being disrespected. Self-respect changes that. It says, this is my line. Cross it and I walk. I choose myself over your inconsistency. I won't settle for crumbs when I deserve the whole table. And the moment you start demanding respect, you stop being an option and start being a standard. Love built on respect lasts. Longer love that grows from respect isn't fragile. It doesn't crumble under stress or fade when the spark cools. It evolves. Respect keeps the conversations honest. Respect keeps both partners equal. Respect keeps love rooted in reality, not just romance. This is the kind of love Machiavelli would approve of. Strategic, balanced, powerful. The kind where you're not chasing, begging, or breaking yourself in half to keep someone around. At some point you have to ask yourself, what am I really chasing? Because when you're running after people who give you crumbs of affection, you're teaching them that your love costs almost nothing. You're saying, You can ignore me, you can half love me, you can come and go when it suits you, and I'll still be here. But that version of love leaves you empty. It chips away at your confidence until you start believing you're the problem. That maybe if you gave more, or smiled more, or forgave more, things would be different. They wouldn't. Because the problem isn't you. The problem is, you're chasing love when you should be demanding respect. Why respect changes everything. Respect shifts the balance. When you set standards, when you decide you'd rather be alone than disrespected, something powerful happens. You stop accepting the bare minimum. You stop begging for attention. You stop romanticizing people who do the least for you. Instead, you attract people who match your energy, who see your worth, who don't need to be convinced to stay. The truth about love. That lasts. Here's the secret no one talks about. Love isn't hard when respect is present. You don't have to play games, keep score, or overthink every word. Respect creates trust. Trust creates peace. And from that peace, love grows naturally, stronger, steadier, and far more real than anything you had to chase. So stop running after people who treat you like an option. Build respect, demand it. Never settle for less, because when respect becomes the standard, love stops being a battle and finally becomes a home.